On a Thursday morning. It is June the 15th. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris, and this is Coffee Talk. A couple of big things that we're going to be chatting about today, all pertaining to a summer's weather pattern. First off, more strong storms are in the forecast. We're going to be discussing when those storms knock on your doorstep. Of course, figuratively, because we all know storms haven't figured out the actual ability to knock on a door. And if they have, then that's actually terrifying. But we'll be looking at the computer models to discuss that. Plus, there's a new tropical wave that's getting ready to roll off the coast of Africa. And this is a tropical wave that the models have been talking about for some time, and we've been talking about here on Coffee Talk for some time. We will be getting to all of that ahead on the broadcast. But first, let's just look outside now. It is lovely. It's a little breezy. We're looking over Volusia County and Daytona Beach shores. Good morning to you, my friends. It is a quiet start to the day. Our first warning, live Doppler radar. I was making tweaks to this thing at midnight? Manolfi gets me on the phone. Something like that. Relatively quiet. Let's zoom in here, though, and just see there's a couple of little showers off the shore there. And that may not even be... Yeah, that's not even rain. So, all right, that's fine. You get the idea. We're nice and quiet now. There are, though, showers and thunderstorms in our forecast. Let's look at the last 12 hours. And obviously, we have those storms from overnight. They have since moved south. There's that Boeing line of storms, but there's more stuff north of us that is going to eventually be working in our direction. Okay, now, when we talk about those storms north of us, let's just start off with... let me hit this view. Let's start off with the severe threat, okay? Severe weather today, widespread concern of severe weather across Oklahoma, parts of Kansas, even parts of Texas. And that kind of level 2 out of 5 risk for strong to severe storms continues through just north of our area. But in our area, it's a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to severe storms, meaning isolated strong to severe storms. Basically what we saw overnight last night. Some of those storms are going to want to get a little feisty. So let's just look at our 12-hour forecast here, okay? And let's discuss this. And we're going to get into Futurecast and all that. And then we do need to look to the tropics, all right? For this morning, a couple of showers possible, but watch for that storm coverage 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock building, okay? It's also going to be hot. There's 94 degrees for our high temperature in the city, 94 in Orlando, 95 degrees in the villages, about 95 degrees in DeLand. So it is indeed a hot day. But storms, that's the big story, right? So let's take a look at Futurecast. I will add our regular Futurecast has done a terrible job of this. So we're going to have to check in on several kind of flavors of it. Lunchtime north of town, kind of popcorning up. See, again, it's just not showing a good grasp at all. All right, so let's switch over to our rapid update Futurecast. 1 o'clock, starting to see some rains filtering in, and then into this evening. See, and then into this evening, overnight, maybe another opportunity for storms. I think both of these models are doing poorly. Let's switch over. I haven't used this one in a while because it was broken, but Beta Futurecast. Let's just dial in. All right, at least Beta Futurecast is kind of showing a couple of the storms firing up 3, 4, right? Through 6. I think it's probably underdoing it, but at any rate, we've got the opportunity for strong to severe storms today, all right? So that's kind of where we're at. Now, tonight into tomorrow, that's looking at another opportunity for stronger storms, and we're calling tomorrow a first warning impact day. A lot going on. So here's kind of the next 3 days. All right. Today it's mostly north, but tomorrow and Saturday, we're all under that level 1 risk for strong and severe storms. Now, I'll say this, okay? I'll say this. Every day during the summertime, we get an opportunity for severe weather, but there's a slightly higher risk for that stuff, and that's why we're at least a little concerned. Another point that I do want to make, though, is notice those rain chances are actually building in a bit looking ahead to our weekend and continuing through Monday, Juneteenth, before getting back to normal. So there's going to be plenty of stormy weather around, okay? It's just a matter of dealing with it and tracking it, and certainly we will be tracking it. Yeah. All right. I see a lot of you all in here. So there's that. Any questions about our local forecast at all? It's one of those situations where, like, for example, today we've got those storms in the forecast, right? Rip current's not a concern, but the temperatures in the UV. But, looking ahead to tomorrow, we'll have that heightened concern for damaging winds and heavy downpours. So there's that. There's that to worry about. All right. It's not a big deal. It's summertime in Central Florida. But think of it like this. There's just a little more of an opportunity atmospherically to get these storms going. So yeah, Michelle, it's going to mostly be afternoon storms. Let's look at Futurecast for tomorrow, though, because tomorrow is a little different. All right. And again, we're going to look at the different versions of, because I think that Futurecast has been really struggling. Here's tomorrow. Notice the rain's north of us. And then kind of into the afternoon and evening, we get that wave of energy pushing in. Dickie over on YouTube is asking, is this unusual for this time of year? It is. This is there's a lot of unusual things happening, both locally and in the tropics. But yes, this is unusual. This is unusual this time of year. So there's that showing tomorrow afternoon storms. Let's go through. So here's what's interesting is our rapid update Futurecast for tomorrow morning is showing some rains, and then it's going to be, see, this I think is a much more accurate representation. A few showers the first part of the day tomorrow, and then that stuff starts sneaking into our northern areas around lunchtime, and some of that could get strong, right? 4 p.m., 5, 6 o'clock. So for now, I'm thinking that Rapid Update Futurecast probably has the best handle on this, if I'm honest. That's where I'm at right now. And then the weekend, yeah, it's kind of the normal afternoon storm. So yes, to answer your question though, this is a fairly abnormal weather scenario. It's not often during the quote-unquote summer months to get not only one level 4 risk for strong to severe storms, which we had yesterday, but 2 level 4 risks for strong to severe storms. Very abnormal. Very abnormal. Yeah, that's just not what happens. So there's that to watch, okay? Sharon says we're back in our RV in Winter Garden. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're heading to the beach today, do want to make sure you know it's kind of gross with that wind. I was at the beach yesterday, and that was rough. Annie says, wow, that storm was wicked last night. My yard is a mess. I will say I woke up. My neighborhood had no power. We've got the solar and the batteries, so we didn't lose power. But it was loud, those storms in the middle of the night. That was loud, right? So if there's one kind of takeaway from all of this, I would say that today we've got the opportunity for some storms. But to me, I think that tomorrow, here's Futurecast. We're going to go with the Rapid Update Futurecast, right? So storms kind of getting going this afternoon into this evening. Perhaps late tonight is when those storms will return. Oh, I hit the wrong one. My apologies. Too many flavors of Futurecast, right? All right, so this evening, that's when those storms are going to be arriving. And then tomorrow, we'll have a few showers. But tomorrow afternoon, from about noon on, that's when we're going to see that heightened threat for strong to severe storms. John, does the WESH app use the standard Futurecast model or something? It's the standard Futurecast, which I don't think right now is doing a good job. Yeah. But yeah, those storms were wicked last night. Speaking of the wicked, look at some of the winds from those storms. At my house, it sounded like it was going to hurricane. As a matter of fact, the wife said, this is what a hurricane sounds like in this house. And I'm like, I didn't know. Yeah. I've not done a hurricane at the house, so there's that. But at any rate, all right. Speaking of hurricanes, I guess shall we go to the tropics? Shall we? All right. Here's a look at the open Atlantic as it stands right now. Nice and quiet for now. Though, don't be blessing the rains coming from Africa too much, because be careful what you ask for, right? Off the coast of Africa over the next few days, we're going to start to watch some moisture moving out. And little by little, we do think that there's going to be some development. The National Hurricane Center just put out their 8 a.m. tropical outlook. And remember, it's a 7-day thing. So this is a really big area, but that's essentially over the next 7 days. The models are starting to say there is some development expected. Basically, it's the wave that's rolling off of the coastline today and tonight, okay? And atmospheric conditions are favorable for tropical activity and development here. You don't usually get tropical activity during the month of June in this corridor. As a matter of fact, if we look at the tropical activity for the month of June, here's where all the tropical systems over the month of June have ever formed. The vast majority of them are in the Gulf, the Caribbean, and near us. But there are a few of these dots, and each one of these dots is essentially where a system has formed. They have a couple of little dots out in the main development region, and there's a couple of little dots over there just off the coast of Africa. So it's not that it's never happened, it's just that it's not normally happening. So it's early for this area to see development, but we have to remember a couple of things. One of the larger things is the sea surface temperature anomaly. Remember, those ocean temperatures are at record levels. Never before have we seen water temperatures this warm there. So that helps. Now, what do the models show, right? That's the big question. So let's do this. Let's just pop up our computer models. Give me a second. All right, let's do the GFS, even though the GFS is goofy. Oh, come on. You're going to make me log in? I don't even remember when login is. Oh, for goodness sake. Hold on. I have to remember my password. This is embarrassing. Oh, it's not. Okay. Okay, now we're logged in. All right, let me get this turned around. Oceanic, basin, pressure, normalized anomaly. Okay, all right. We're back now. Hi, we're back. All right, so this is the latest GFS model. And what this is looking at is mean sea level pressure normalized anomaly. So first world problems of having I know exactly, Taylor, right? I give vault. See, I should have done this before, but it's like once every 2.5 months it asks for the password. All right, so let's just roll through time. And what we're looking for is lowered pressure. That's the blues, the greens, but moreover, you get into the purples. That's where we really watch. So right off the bat, this is Saturday, storm system off the northeastern United States. But notice kind of bottom of the screen, right where it says forecast high 94. We see that little, and because it's on a different map, there's no way for me to circle it. But that little dot right there in the open Atlantic, you see it there? right where it says forecast high 90. That is this thing that we're discussing, right? This is the GFS. Now we're going to compare models and we'll look at ensemble support, etc., etc. But there it is, trucking along. Obviously, let's take our attention right where it says current temp 74. That's this area of low pressure in the open Atlantic. Let's also look to the Caribbean and notice that the GFS is still throwing that CAG out there. That fake-a-cane. Anyway. Recurving, but like that's, that out near the Turks and Caicos, not the Turks and Caicos, oh my God, St. Croix, the Virgin Islands. I have to dust my brain off here. That's Sunday the 25th, so 26th, there's Monday the 26th. I mean, that's a decent little area of low pressure there, right? The 30th out near Bermuda, and that's as far as the GFS goes. But what is that, that's a 976 low. So the GFS is going a little bonkers on trying to develop something out there. So that's interesting. All right, let's reset this. Let's switch over and let's look at the European. Operational European 6Z run only goes out 90 hours, so I'll go back a run from there. But right to the end of the European, and right where it says 72 for current temp 70, if you look just above there, it's showing some anomalously lowered pressure. Let's go back a model run. But it does show development right there on the K for coffee talk. There's something that it's indicating. It's right near Puerto Rico. It's 1,004 millibar low, and that's as far out as the operational Euro goes. We can go over to the ensemble and get a little bit more, but it kind of fades it out from there. So let's do some ensemble data. The low locations, right? Let's just roll through time. So storm system off the northeast coast kind of fits the long range pattern, so that's fine. But notice on the central Atlantic there, we're starting to see those L's showing up, right? Ignore the stuff up way north. That's just what it is. That's upper tropospheric stuff. But notice that there's ensemble support. This is the European ensemble around the Windward, Leeward Islands, around St. Croix, around Puerto Rico. So there is ensemble support for something. Let's switch over to the GFS ensembles. And interestingly enough, the GFS ensembles are not showing. So the GFS operational shows it, but the GFS ensembles are not really showing much. So that's what's interesting. Now, there's another thing that I haven't really shown a lot, but this is something. This is essentially the percentages of the model showing the percentage of a tropical depression forming, kind of like an easy look. And this is the European percentages, and you can see across the central Atlantic, that's a thing, right? Let's look at the GFS. Yeah, see, the GFS is not picking up on it as much, at least on the ensembles. For the Canadian model, the Canadian model is not picking up on it as much. Yeah, so, the Euro's definitely the more bullish of. But I would say, given what I see with the GFS wanting to develop like a fake-a-cane, because the Euro is a little more bullish, it's got my attention a little bit more. Do I think that this is going to be something scary to hit us? No. Do I think, though, that it's interesting because it's the first African wave of the year and it's super early, but it's something to watch? That I do. That I do think. Do I think that this should probably stay a fish storm? I hope so. That's kind of the guidance that we're getting right now. But it's definitely something to watch. Yeah. All right. Any questions, y'all? Questions, comments, concerns, anything? Have a great day. Okay, be good, Marie. Have a good one. Jamie, the Canadian model. There's a Canadian model. And Jeremy Nelson, whom, of course, we do our our weekly Tracking the Tropics with. Jeremy loves that Canadian model. Not so much something that I use all the time, but yeah, he loves it. One other thing that's kind of new that I haven't really used much, but we'll start to use it. This is kind of an interesting little resource that the good folks at FSU have put together, okay? Now, essentially what this is doing, how do I explain this in like the most non-too nerdy way? All right, so the idea here is it looks at the model data, okay? And this is essentially model indicated genesis potential. And it throws percentages, etc. out there. All right, and so the idea here is when you look at the icons, it kind of shows you which model, and the key is on the top. So like the circle, that's the GFS. The X is going to be kind of the center area, if you will, of it. And then, that triangle is the European. So where does it start to undergo tropical genesis, that sort of thing? One point of note is that it's currently showing about a 53% genesis at about 102 hours from now. That's up from 39% earlier in the last model run. So this is something new I'm using. Not sure how it's going to work, but it'll be interesting to watch that and see how we can add that tool to our tool chest. That's one of the things that I love to do, is to always try to add new tools to the tool chest. So the good folks at FSU have started doing and monitoring that fun stuff. I like it. I like new tools. I am not moving to Canada. I'm not moving to Canada, but I'll use their models and all that. So that's what we're looking at in the tropics. Not really a big threat to us. At least that's not what it's looking like. But it's something to watch. We're not quite to the season where we should be watching this, but here we are, right? So there's that. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Anybody have anything for me? We're discussing the tropics. We're discussing the tropics. We're discussing everything. What you got? Anybody have anything? At least it's nice and quiet out there for now. Yeah, and remember, this thing is like rolling off of Africa today and tonight. It's not like it's a big honking, threatening concern for us or anybody. Taylor's asking for Saturday morning Futurecast. The problem is if the models are terrible like now, I so hesitate. I just so hesitate to go so far out. But here's Futurecast for Saturday morning. This is the normal Futurecast, showing some storms Saturday morning and then clearing out around lunchtime and beyond. But again, the models are struggling with this kind of a pattern. Debbie, you asked a question. What's your question? Pat says, great news for Cam Tran and hubby. New addition to the Wesh family. I know. It's one of those things we've known for a while, but, we needed to let things work through. So excited for Cam and her family. How did you find out about these other tools? I find it very interesting. Meteorological communities. This tool, the tool that I showed you there, this one was from Ryan, the boy wonder, the future intern. It's not an intern yet, but the future Wesh intern. He's an FSU student, and so they're all nerding out about stuff, and just kind of shares some of these resources. So I'll take it. Jason, have we started the rainy season yet? Oh yeah, yeah. We have started the rainy season. Yeah, we have. And thankfully, while we're in hurricane season, don't have any big threats right now. Yeah. Tina laughing. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll take storms in the afternoon. We need them after all. And that's what we're gonna get. Baby season on Wesh again. None at the Burris house. We are done. We are done. Done. Alexander is potty trained. Y'all, I cannot understate how wonderful that is. Alexander is potty trained. Eric is going into kindergarten. There are 0 children coming out of this house anymore. Unless they're grandbabies. Years and years and years and years and years for now. Taylor, you are correct. If there are any more children, then literally that is God saying, take that, science and surgery, and I'll do my own thing. And if that's the case, what am I going to say? But there should be no more. Laura, what's one more? I think scientifically it's almost impossible at this point. But what's one more? Listen, to go from 1 child to 2 child went from Eric was a handful to begin with, and then you added a second. That felt like we added a militia of children. So we're no. Do you know what else can't handle it other than my soul? My wallet. Taylor, you vaguely mentioned it after you had it done. It's stuck along with the millennial thing, and there's certain things. That's how I found out, Taylor. That's how I found out that was it Summer or was it Meredith? That's how I found out that they were pregnant, because I was like limping around. They're like, "What's up?" And when I told them what had happened, they're just like you could see a glimmer in their eye, like, we need to figure that out. And yeah, shut her down. Okay, questions, comments, concerns, people. Janice says 2 is plenty. 2 is way too many. 2 is way too many. I mean, I love them, but like, the stress on these shoulders, I can barely lift myself up. Bobby, a storm in July. Listen, we're on our way to having a tropical system forming in June again. You know, we've already had, think about it like this. We have already had 2 named storms. Hurricane Center has an idea that there could be a third. Thank you, Nancy. Taylor says I was done with 2. I now have 3. D-O-N-E. Taylor, every day I feel like I just need to give you a big hug because you are in the weeds. From one parent to another, I'm sure I'm not the only one giving you a big hug, but like, you're in the weeds. I got you. Oh, man. I don't want more than 2. I hear going from 2 to 3 is the worst. Going from 1 to 2 is a lot. And you know what's funny is everybody told us the real deal. They were like, it's not going to be your second that's the problem. It's always going to be that first, always testing those waters. And I'm like, holy cannoli. Teenager down to toddler. S is real here. Taylor. God. Whew. Sending coffee or vodka? I don't know which one you need. They are a gift. 100% they're a gift. But also, you know, even $1 million has a flip side to it, right? It's always that double edge. It's always that double edge. All right. Any questions? Anything? So we got something to track in the tropics. Denise says I was done at 2, but had 4. Now I have 8 grandkids. Good gravy. Laura says the transition from 0 to 1 was rough. It's true. This transition from 1 to 2 wasn't rough until they started now just pinching and pushing and spitting and popping. And now I'm like, oh my God, like, I just want a shock collar to get you both. Oh yeah, you want to? I'm not going to do that. Department of Children and Families, I'm just trying to make a little slightly off color humor, okay? That is amazing. I love that patty. Oh, triplets. Oh, Kelly, I wanted a shock collar for when you went over in time. That request was denied. Could you imagine? And your 7-day... and then you see Kelly in the background like, got him. Taylor, dark humor is a coping mechanism. My therapist fully supports it. Mine hasn't discussed it with me, but I imagine he would too. But that's also who I am. I am that guy. So, all right. So we've got something to track in the tropics. We've got some stronger storms in the forecast for the next couple of days. Ooh, silly string. I like the squirt bottle, like water. I've never used it, but I like the idea of like, oh yeah, you want to get feisty? I feel like a TV show or something did that. I just think it's hilarious. But my kids would be like, more, give me more. More. Anyway, all right, enough. Questions, comments, concerns, anything. Do we have any questions? Anything. That happens to my trees occasionally. Do we have any questions? I've always had cats. I've absolutely used the squirt bottle on my kids. It definitely backfired. That's the thing. They'd be like, oh, I want more. And you're like, crap. Oh, man. Crystal, do you think the flights will be canceled due to the rain on Tuesday, or it's too early to tell? Any day of the week, you're going to end up, if you get storms around, that's the problem, Crystal. Any day of the week in Central Florida, during this time of year, it's just what happens. Diversions and delays and cancellations and all that. I'm just curious, what's the airport look like now? Let's just look. There's your sign. Is that true? Are we really at 59 delays already? Or is my data feed off? Are we really already? I gotta check that. Yeah. I see a bunch of delayed. Yeah. 5 canceled? One, two. I see 2 canceled. Maybe that data feed is off. I see 2 canceled. I see a United to Denver and a JetBlue to Aguadilla canceled. Maybe I'll have to check that. At any rate, there are already cancellations and there are already delays, so good times. All right. Yeah, this time of year, though, that's just what's going to happen. Every day there's that possibility. So, blah. All right, people. That's all I got for you. Showers and storms. Full-on Central Florida summer. Sound fun? So fun. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you guys and gals later on.